So, half of 1/3 of a pan of brownies equals blank pan of brownies. Half of 1/3 of a pan of brownies is 1/2 of 1/3. 1/6 of a pan of brownies is what you should have on that very first question if you even bother doing it. If you left it blank, then that's not good, because if you leave it blank tomorrow, then it's going to be incorrect. One-fourth of 1/4, which is 1/4 times 1/4. 1 times 1 is 1. 4 times 4 is not 8. It's 16. But I had, please don't say that. I had someone this morning who said 8 also. I had people on the other quiz tell me that 1 times 1 is 2. It's just, be careful what you're doing. Because if you make those mistakes, I have no choice but to mark it wrong. Be careful. I made a mistake this morning where I did 11 times 12 was 22 and I wanted to smack myself in the head. You just need to be careful. I wasn't thinking. Sometimes you're not thinking when you write it down. Just think when you're doing it. Be careful before you turn it in. Go over it and check it. You're not checking it. Check it. That's what you do before you turn it in. When you turn it in, that's it. That's all there is. 1/16. One half times 3/5. 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 5 is 10. Then you might ask yourself, can that be simplified? Well, 3 is 1 times 3. 2 can't make it. 3 is right there, so I'm repeating. There's nothing else. 10 is 1 times 10. 2 times 5. 3 can't do it. 4 can't do it. 5's right there. I'm repeating. There's nothing that matches but 1. So it cannot be simplified. That is your answer. I keep bumping into this trash can. 5/8 of the songs on Harrison's music player are hip-hop. 1/3 of the remaining songs are rhythm and blues. What fraction of all the songs are rhythm and blues? Use a tape diagram to solve. It's not telling you to do 5/8 times 1/3. It's telling you to do a tape diagram. It told you to do a tape diagram. 8 sections. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 5/8 are hip hop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is hip hop. Then you have the remaining songs. These, the remaining songs. 1/3 of the remaining songs are rhythm and blues. You have 3. 1/3. 1 of the 3 are rhythm and blues. One out of the 3 of the remaining songs. What fraction of all of the songs, all of them, is rhythm and blues?
1/8.
1 out of the 8. 1/8 is R&B.
Yeah, I wasn't listening to the question. I knew it.
I hope you're fixing it.
Yes.
It doesn't do you any good to leave the stuff wrong. Okay.
What I did 1/3. Wait, never mind.
3/4 times 5 6. 3 times 5, 15. 4 times 6, 24. Making my list. 15 is made 1 times 15. 2 can't do it. 3 times 5. 4 can't do it. There's 5. I repeated. 24. 1 times 24. 2 times 12. 3 times 8. 4 times 6. 5 can't do it. There's 6 right there. So I repeated. So I've got 3. So it can be simplified by 3. If you do not simplify your fractions, I have no choice but to mark stuff wrong. Simplify by 3. I know what you're going to say, Jim. 5 8. You can also, when you have 3/4 times 5 6, excuse you.
Yeah.
Simplify within the problem.
That's what I did.
I do too. See, this stuff should have already been done, so I'm just going. These were very easy. This stuff should not be wrong.
No, I wrote it on the wrong one.
Sarah's family. Sarah's family traveled 3/10 of the distance to her grandmother's house on Saturday. They traveled 4/7 of the remaining distance on Sunday. What fraction of the total distance to her grandmother's house was traveled on Sunday? I need a tape diagram. It is not asking you to take 4/7 of 3/10. That's not what it says. We've got remaining distance. So 10 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This happened the other time. 10. 3/10. 3 right here. This is Saturday. They traveled 4/7 of the, so this right here is the remaining distance. So they drove Saturday and this is what they had left to go to get to Grandma's house. Remaining distance. So how much of the remaining distance did they drive on Sunday? 4/7. You skipped ahead. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 4 of this. 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 7 was Sunday. I know. This, I guess maybe they did on Monday. Who knows? But this is what they did on Sunday. Now they want to know, out of the entire thing, the total distance, what was driven on Sunday? 4 out of the whole thing, 10. Now if you look at 4, it's 1 times 4, it's 2 times 2. This repeats. It's a double, so I'm done doing my 4s. 10, 1 times 10, 2 times 5, 3 can't make a 10, 4 can't make a 10, there's 5. I'm done. So it can be simplified by 2. Two-fifths of the distance. There were some arguments about this problem during first period about Peter. Oh, Peter. Peter is wearing several. Several is a non-number. It's a non-specific number. It's like couple or few. Couple means 2, few means 3 or 4, several is whatever's more than that. Several rubber bracelets. 1/3 of the bracelets are tie-dye. 1/6 are blue. 1/3 of the remainder are camouflage. Now I know that I kind of messed up, misspelled a couple words in there, and misspelled words are the bane of my existence. I started getting really tired as I was writing this. It was getting late. I had a lot to do yesterday, so I'm sorry I misspelled a couple things in there. So, if Peter wears 2 camouflage bracelets, how many bracelets does he have on? So we need the total. So, we need to do a diagram. So, tape diagram. How many total parts?
30.
6.
Where? Oh, okay. Oh, please.
We've got 1/3 are tie-dye, 1/6 are blue. So it's easier just to do 6. So if we've got 1/3 are tie-dye, D-Y-E, my bad, sorry. 1/6 are blue. And then we've got 1/3 of the remainder. I'm just writing what the problem says. Are camo. Okay, so what can I do with this information right here with 1/3 and 1/6?
Pick up the 1/6 blue part.
You could add 1/3 plus 1/3. You could add 1/3 plus 1/3.
So I can find a common denominator and do, or equivalent fraction, and 1/3 is equivalent to 2/6. So 1/3 is equivalent to 2/6. So 2 of this is the tie-dye. 2 of these units right here is tie-dye.
Okay.
1 unit is blue. 1 of the 6 is blue. 1/3 of the remainder. So this right here is the remainder. These are what's left over. What is left over on his arm. 1/3 of this is camo. So this one right here is the camo. Do we know what color these are?
No.
Does it matter?
No.
First period was hung up on what these were. They were like, well, he must not be wearing these. Is it saying that he's wearing bracelets?
No.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
He's wearing several rubber bracelets. It doesn't matter what color these are. He's still wearing them. They could be green, they could be red, they could be white. It doesn't matter. If Peter wears 2 camouflage bracelets, where does that go?
The red.
The remaining.
2 camouflage.
Oh, that must mean each section is 2. That must mean each section is 2.
Camel.
So if this one's 2, they are all 2. So how many bracelets does he have? 12. There are 6 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh,
Yeah. 12 bracelets. 12 bracelets. There's no but. So, now you have 1 5/10 times 3/10. Now, I remember at one point I had specifically said, when you are multiplying decimals, if they, no, not that. If they line up, great. If they don't try to make them line up. Just leave it be. Because if you start trying to make them line up, you're going to mess it up and possibly get your answer wrong. Which someone still tried to do it and then ended up getting their answer wrong. Because, hey, what do I know? I'm just a math teacher. Sometimes they do line up, sometimes they don't. If they don't, just leave it be and just multiply it. There are two ways that you can multiply decimals. The first way is just straight multiply it like you would any other number. 3 times 5, 15, carry the 1, that's 3, 45. I just kind of pretend that the decimal is not there. This is one in, this is one in, so you have to move it in 2 spots. So 1, 2, so you should have 4,500. I should have even heard a 3. I heard 1, 2, 3. That's in 1, that's in 1, so it's a total of 2. If you're saying 3, that tells me right there you're not paying attention. So you need to be sitting up and looking up and not playing with your hair while you're looking at the floor. What? But you could also, now this way I do not prefer, but some people just determined to do it by the decimal way, the fraction way, but it's twice as much work and you still end up having to multiply it by the standard algorithm to get the numerator. 1 and 5/10. Your denominator is a 10. Pull out your decimal, it's 15. 15 tenths because it's 1 and 5/10 times 3 tenths. What I'm finding is when some people are determined to do it like a fraction, they're doing the fractions wrong. So it's just easier if you just do the standard algorithm and just multiply it. Please don't do it like a fraction. You're making it harder and then you're ending up doing it wrong anyway. Please don't do it like a fraction. Because 15 times 3, you're still stuck having to do this anyway. You're still stuck having to do the standard algorithm.
And then you get to turn that to a decimal.
Then you've got 45. 10 times 10 is 100. Then you have to turn it into a decimal. So you're doing twice as much work. 45 over 100. Move the decimal in 1, 2. So I just not simplifying. If you simplify it, then you can't put it into a decimal. Because if I simplify it, then I'm making it, let's see, 9/20ths. Why would I want to do that when I'm turning it into a decimal? The whole point is turning it into a decimal. At no point, if I'm doing 1 and 5/10 times 3/10 equals 4,500. How would I easily get 4,500 from 9/20? At no point when we were doing this as a fraction, at no point did I say, leave it as a fraction and simplify it. I even remember saying, don't simplify it, because then you can't turn it into a decimal easily because your fraction has to be turned into a decimal. I remember specifically saying that because I was asked, should you simplify it? And I said, no, because you have to turn it into a decimal. If you make it 9/20ths, how can you turn it into a decimal? You can't. Not easily. I mean, you can. You have to divide 20 into 9. That's kind of weird. Which one's the numerator? So it's 20 into 9. It can happen. 20 into 9, which of course I can't do that. Can't do it. I have to add my decimal. Have to add my 0. 20 goes into 90 4 times 80. That leaves me with 10. Make another 0. 20 goes into 100 5 times. It's more work. So why don't you just do what I told you to do, not simplify it, leave it as 4,500 and turn it into a decimal. 4,500. Or not do the fraction at all and just do the standard algorithm, which is a million times easier. 1,000,000 times easier. I'm not saying that this is impossible to turn it into a decimal. It's just a whole lot harder. If y'all would just do what I tell you to do, it'd be a whole lot easier. Because if there's an easy way to do it, I'm going to teach it to you. Thirteen hundredths times 5/10. These decimals are not going to line up. Do not, show is not a word unless you are taking me to a dog show or a magic show. These decimals do not line up. Do not make them line up. You make it harder when you try to make them line up.
So you have to add 0.
I have to add zeros, and then I have to multiply those zeros. 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times 1 is 5, times 1 plus 1 is 6. If I add that extra 0, I just made it harder. Why make it harder? Here's 2, here's 1, that's 3. I do. 1, 2, 3. I can't have that gap. That's the easiest possible way to multiply a decimal. But if you're determined to not listen to me and do it the hard way, I'll show her. I'm going to do it the way she said, please don't do it. I'm going to show her. Look at there. I'm going to do it this way. Because I've seen people do it like this, which I've said, you can't do that. I've said you can't do that. You can't do that. There's sometimes when I go, well, you can, but please don't. You can't. That's not, no, you can't. 13 times 5, which again, you have to do this to get that. Isn't that right, Trevor? Remember I told you that? When I was like, you have to do the standard to do the fraction. Why not just do the standard? Yeah, because I said that just, what, 3 days ago?
Yeah, I should do this.
Yep, you should have. 65. 1, 2, 3 zeros. And a 1. 65,000. 65. Bring in that 0. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. But you still have to do the standard algorithm to get the numerator. Might as well just go ahead and do the standard algorithm.
Can we do it? If you do it, because you have I got to just put those zeros and then
But if you only leave me with a fraction like you did the last time, I'm taking points off. Because you're supposed to write it as a decimal.
Okay.
Like I told you last time. Because you are actually, you're multiplying decimals. I'm not multiplying fractions, I'm multiplying decimals. So shouldn't your answer be as a decimal? Yeah. I'm not multiplying fractions. I'm multiplying decimals. So your answer should be in the form of the problem. Oh, and here it comes. 13 inches equals blank feet. Now, this is the part that I think is going to give people the most problem because you guys don't know your conversions. You might tell me that you might just throw random numbers in there like 3s and 36s. You need to know how many of whatever is in the whatever. No. 13 times 1 inch. And then please show your work. Show your work. Stop doing it in your head. 13 times whatever foot. Are we going big to small or small to big? Because I'm going small to big. Small to big. You to small to big. Divide. So what is supposed to be here? 1 and 1 12. 1 and 1 12. 1 and 1 12.
112. Yeah. Because 12 going to 13.
So 1 inch is worth 1 foot and 1/12
No,
of a foot?
you times 112.
1 inch is 1/12 of a foot. Answer the question that I'm asking. 13 times 1/12 of a foot. Answer the question that I'm asking. So 13 times 1/12. 13 12. Which is improper. Do not leave it that way. 12 goes into 13. 1 times. 1 times 12. 1 and 1/12 of a foot. So 13 inches equals 1 and 1/12 of a foot. Yes, sir.
This is what I did. I knew that foot was 12 inches, so I just knew straight away that I could just divide 13 by 12.
Well, it's still, you should be getting to where you're really comfortable with your conversions if you're that good at it. I'm still doing the steps. I'm still showing the work because there are some people who still need these steps. I still want to see some form of work, though. I still need to see some kind of thought process. Because if I don't see it, I'll be like, well, where'd you get that? I still need to see something. Some kind of something. $18 ounces equals something of a pound. I know. 18 times 1 ounce. And I'm going to a pound. Am I going small to big, divide, or big to small, multiply? Small to big. So what of a pound? 1/16. It takes 16 ounces to make a pound. So 1 ounce. 1 ounce is 1/16 of a pound. So when I have 18 ounces, it's 18/16 of a pound. It is improper. So 16 into 18.
1 pound. That equals
So
1 and
1,
16.
1 and 2/16. So I have 2 is 1 times 2 and nothing else. 16 is 1 times 16. 2 times 8. Or 4 times 4. And if I look, they both share a 2. So they can both be, it's me, it's not me. So they can both be simplified by 2, 1, and 1/8 of a pound.
I divided it, I'm just saying. No, don't clear the page, you kind of know. I can know. This is my problem.
Regina buys 24 inches of trim for a craft. What fraction of a yard does Regina buy? So she buys 24 inches. They want to know how much of a yard is that. So we have 24 times 1 inch. 24. We're going to a yard. How many inches are in a yard?
36.
36. So are we going small to big or big to small? Small to big. So it should be 136. There are 36 inches in 1 yard. So 24, 36. So 24 made up of 1. It's not improper. 24 is smaller. Okay, I was like, no, it's not. It's 2 times 12, 3 times 8, 4 times 6. 5 can't do it, and then there's 6 right there. Repeats. 36 is 1 times 36. 2 times 18. 3 times 12. 4 times 9. 6 times 6. So I doubled. So I've got 2 and 2, 3 and 3, 4 and 4, 6 and 6, 12 and 12.
12.
So it can be simplified by 12.
I thought you had. Oh no. I thought you had a double.
Yes. 2/3 of a yard. If a whole yard of trim costs $6, how much did Regina pay? If 1 yard is $6, but she only bought 2/3 of a yard, did she pay the full $6?
No.
No. How can you find out how much she paid?
$1.
How much would she pay? How do you find it out? 6 times 2/3. So 12/3 equals $4. Huh? Why would you? Because it's 6 times 2 is 12. 12 divided by 3. Smoosh.
Smoosh math.
Smoosh math. It's that $6. Smoosh them together. Two and 1/2 of a cup equals something of a pint. So 2 and 1/2 times 1 cup. And we're going from 2 and 1/2 to, so if I have a pint and it's made up of a cup here and a cup there, but I only have 1 cup. How much is 1 cup in pint land? 1/2 of a pint. Can I multiply this?
No.
I truly saw
Oh, you can.
in say that I truly saw people doing this as an answer when I said yesterday that you cannot multiply fractions like that. But I saw people on their homework do it anyway. Shame, shame. What do you have to do? Zach, what do you have to do?
Make 2 1/2 an improper fraction.
And what would that improper fraction be?
It would be 5 over 2.
5 halves times 1/2, which would be a total of how many pints?
5 fourths.
5 fourths, which is improper. So you have to turn it into 1 1/4 of a pint. 1 1/4 of a pint.
I wouldn't want to work.
Three and 2/3 years. Oop, I forgot the A. Years equals how many months? So 3 and 2/3 times 1 year.
Oh.
3 and 2/3 times. Now we're going to months. If I have 1 year. So I've got 1 whole year. Would that be 1/12 of a month? No. Whatever you do. It's when I'm hearing 1/12 again. It's 12. 1 year is bigger than a month because it takes 12 months to make 1 year. 1 year is bigger.
You're going big to small, so you multiply.
Right, we're going big to small, so you multiply. I do not need to make this an improper fraction. We just go 3 times 3 is 30. 12 times 3 is 36. 12 times 2 is 24. Leave the 3 alone. 36 plus, what is 24 divided by 3? Total of, sit in the chair. 44 months.
But what about the
What about the 3? That's 24 divided by 3 is 8.
So that'd be half of
Now, in first period, there were a couple people who did turn this into a mixed fraction, or it is mixed, improper fraction, and multiply it. It's not wrong. Your number just gets really big because that would be 11/3 times 12, and that would be 132 thirds. Now, it wouldn't be simplifying. You would just have to divide it because it's improper. So, if you remember, please sit down. If you remember yesterday, I taught you one of those divisibility rules. If you add up your numbers, the sum, if it can be divided by 3, then the whole number can be divided by 3. 2 plus 3 is 5 plus 1 is 6. So the sum of those numbers is 6. So I can divide the whole thing by 3. So 3 into 132, that's 4. So you still get 44. I'm just saying that either way you do it, you would still get the same answer. But you have to know that 11 times 12 is 132.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
4, 3.